This is crazy what we just saw. Uh, could you have ever expected the Denver Broncos would beat Kansas City? The way the Broncos have played under Sean Payton, the problems they've had offensively, the mess they are defensively, the guys that gave up 70 points in a game early in the season, and they got Kansas City that walked in there in the Mile High, and Denver beat them up. Kansas City, out of character. When was the last time you saw this? Chiefs, 5 turnovers in the game.
Wow.
Mahomes, 2 picks, a fumble. Russell Wilson threw for only 119, but he threw 3 touchdowns because Kansas City kept giving him the ball inside their own 30-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a short field to work on. I mean, it was absolutely staggering how poorly Kansas City played, and then all of a sudden Denver just got all amped up, and Denver played really, really strong defense. So the Broncos beat the Chiefs. That one was only bypassed by what happened Cincinnati, San Francisco. Joe Burrow looks like vintage Joe Burrow. He goes 28 for 32, 283. The other side of the line of scrimmage, Brock Purdy looked like a deer in headlights. He threw interceptions on back-to-back passes, and the next series, he fumbled the football. Mm-hmm. He looked so out of sorts. Cincinnati put up 403 yards in total offense against San Francisco, and suddenly the Niners, who were 5-0 out of the gate, they've lost 3 in a row, and they just don't look like the same team. Dallas stampeded the Rams. Dak Prescott, who was really impressive a couple weeks ago when they beat the Chargers, even more impressive against the Rams. 304 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver, running with his hair on fire. He had 12 catches for 158. At one point, I think the total offense was like 320 to 105. I mean, the Rams just completely fell apart. And to make it worse, Matthew Stafford, thumb injury, pulled from the game, tried to play into the second half with what was a sprained thumb. Now they fear there might be a fracture. So it's going to get worse for the Rams. And boy, Dallas just pasted them. Minnesota, Green Bay, great rivalry. NFC North, Kirk Cousins goes down with a torn Achilles. Done for the year. And it wasn't that he got hit. He was just moving the pocket to plant the throw. Boom. Cleat catches in the turf. He goes down. This team is already without the star wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. It's the death knell to the Minnesota season. And it's bad for Cousins because Cousins is in the final year of a mega contract, who's going to be a big money free agent again, and now he's got a torn Achilles. Chargers, thank goodness the Bears are on the schedule. Justin Herbert, 15 for 15 out of the gate throwing the football. Austin Eckler, 119 all-purpose yards. Number 1 pick, Quentin Johnston, caught 5 balls. He looked really imposing physically. But I caution Charger fan, you were playing the Bears, who are not real good, don't have much of a pass rush, don't have much of an offense. Although I thought Tyler Bagent, the Division II quarterback, he hung in there. He did throw 2 picks, but he also threw the ball down the field. I was kind of impressed with his composure under fire. So the Chargers beat the Bears. Chargers go play the suddenly hot New York Jets on the road on the East Coast. And speaking of the Jets and Giants, they should have televised this game in grainy black and white. It was awful. It's one of the worst games you could ever imagine. Do you know, John, there were 24 punts in the Jets-Giants game yesterday. There were only 23 points scored. There were 24 punts. And the two teams combined to go 0 for 15 on third down conversions in the first half.
Brutal.
And on top of it, fans are sitting out in the rain the whole day. It was just a god-awful game. And the Giants lost their quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, so now they're without Daniel Jones. They're without the backup quarterback. They had a third-string quarterback who had to come into play. They couldn't throw a football. He had thrown one pass in his career in the NFL. All they did was try to run the ball with Saquon Barkley, and they lost the game in overtime. It was really, really bad. So that's where we are in the top games of the weekend, and the injury factor from the league, around the league. There were 4 quarterbacks that got hurt yesterday. Major injuries. It's terrible injury to Kirk Cousins. Just a bunch of Achilles blew out in games yesterday. So that's where we are. So you explain to me, Kansas City. Explain to me your 49ers. Give me your thoughts on the Chargers and the Bears.
Oh, well, first of all, it was a weird week. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe the only dominant team in the NFL right now are the Eagles, because everyone else is showing weaknesses, because we thought Kansas City, San Francisco, Buffalo,
even Miami,
they're and even the Lions have kind of regressed a little bit too, because they get blown out last week, I think. So it's weird that these teams are so Jekyll and Hyde-ish. And Brock Purdy didn't look the same. Maybe his head's still rattled from that concussion. But boy, Joe Burrow looked really good. It was like the old Joe Burrow.
Yep.
But tough break for Kirk Cousins blowing out his Achilles. Makes you think of Aaron Rodgers and what he went through. But I just look at all these teams, and it's like one week they're up and the next week they're down. Like the Chargers is another great example. And Justin Herbert looked really good. He looked like the Justin Herbert we've all been wanting. But to your point, he's playing the Chicago Bears. I mean, who's coming up on the Charger schedule?
Well, they got to go play the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They got Buffalo still. They got another game with what will be an angry Kansas City team. There's Baltimore on the schedule, which is beating everybody up. So there's no guarantee here. The Chargers are a playoff team. I was shocked. They're blowing these guys out. I think at one point it was 30-7. And Herbert was still in the game, and he took a wicked hit on a delayed blitz, and he got pancaked. He took a shot right to the chest and went backwards and hit his head. And I thought to myself, Brandon Staley, why is he still in the game in the fourth quarter when it's 30-7?
Yeah.
I thought he got hurt, and he did get up, but you could tell on his face he was in pain. His helmet was sideways, really bad. And the NFL had a bad Sunday afternoon. We talked a couple weeks ago on our Monday Bonus podcast about Sunday NFL Ticket, which had gone from DirecTV to YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
The subscriptions. They had some bug technically in the system. Nobody in the country could get Sunday NFL Ticket games nor the red zone.
Really?
With the early games, because of something that had gone wrong technically. It didn't get fixed till the third quarter of the early games.
Oh, wow.
It's the first time it's ever happened. YouTube doesn't quite have an explanation of what happened.
Well, they're paying so much money for that, you know? I mean, you need that to be bulletproof. And, guys betting on games, looking for their fantasy players. I mean, that's tough.
You were here, you turned on your subscription,
mm-hmm.
You would have got that buffering symbol.
Oh, yeah.
That went on from 1 o'clock till probably 3:15, because the games did not finally pop up until third quarter of all the early games.
Unbelievable.
You think you'd be screaming? I guess you'd be screaming.
Yeah, I think I would be. Yeah.
So that's where we are, the National Football League. We had some weird games, and obviously what happened to Sunday Direct Ticket on YouTube. We go